Hey guys, and welcome to the follow-up video on my 5.05 Retribution Paladin Guide. Today we'll be going a bit more into depth on the single target and multi-target rotations, add-ons I use, and what you can do to help your raid survive in a raid fight. First, though, let's go over single target and multi-target rotations and when you should use them. Single target is pretty much self-explanatory. Single target. Multi-target is a bit difficult. It is considered to be going to different categories. So there's 1 through 3 mobs, 3 to 5 mobs, and then 5 beyond. Well, 5 to 8, and then 8 to beyond. 1 through 3, you'll want to use Crusader Strike and all your normal other spells. And then instead of using Templar's Verdict, you'll want to use Divine Storm. Divine Storm does more damage than, say, Templar's Verdict on 2 or more mobs. Reaching 3 to 5 mobs, you'll want to start using Hammer of Righteous, which is an AoE attack that takes the same cooldown as your Crusader Strike. So you want to use that instead of Crusader Strike. And then once you hit 5 to 8 adds, you'll want to pop Seal of Righteousness. Preferably 8 beyond adds will be Seal of Righteousness, but you can shortcut that a little bit earlier. Seal of Righteousness spreads 6% of your weapon damage to all melee targets every melee attack, which is pretty nice. That's it. So that's pretty easy to understand. Also makes just a lot of judgment choices, like snap decisions, like, okay, there's 5 mobs, I'm going to go with Seal of Truth and just go stack my Seal of Truth or Censure on each mob, while using Hammer of Righteous and Divine Storm. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do. For add-ons, add-ons are helpful for managing Rat Paladin, especially since we have to keep up Inquisition. If we don't, we lose, well, 30% of our damage. My add-ons, hold on, I'm going to interface. Oops, interface. I use NPC Scan for miscellaneous items. The ones that are major to me are SCADA, Need to Know, and CLC Ret. SCADA because it helps track buff up times, which is pretty helpful, so I know when I'm how much of the time my Inquisition is up. So, say if my Inquisition was up 90% of the time, it would display it in the buff uptime area, which is extremely helpful for theory crafting and just, keeping track of what you're doing. Need to Know is a basic countdown timer. So, need to know. Whoops. Need to know. There we go. So you can program it to type in the spell. You just push choose debuff to time. Write that in. Make sure you spell it correctly, including capitalization, and then use the time format, which I use fractal seconds because they're a lot easier to keep track, especially with the shorter duration spells, for like Inquisition and Sacred Shield. Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away, you stupid thing. There we go. Okay. So that's Need to Know. The last add-on I use that's major importance for me is CLC Ret. CLC Ret is a huge help for me. Basically, you enter your rotation, the suggested rotation that you can find on various websites or to your own theory crafting. You just put it here, and then you push OK. Make sure minimum HP is at 3 for Inquisition, apply, and time before refresh is also at 3. And you're good to go. That will be your rotation, and it's very helpful. You can't actually just push the buttons and spam that. That would be breaking some laws, basically, that Blizzard set up. But besides that, you can just follow this, and it's pretty much easy. It's just really easy, because it keeps track of Inquisition, tells you when to cast Templar's Verdict. It's very helpful. I use it a lot. I didn't use it for a while, and I was noticing slight downtimes on Inquisition, but once I got used to it, it was fine. So if you don't want to use an add-on, you don't have to. But it is suggested, because it is very helpful, and you will lose little bits of DPS on the time that's not when Inquisition is not up, because you either forget about it or you're watching the ground because there's some blue little crap that's spawning and killing you. The Stone Guardians are a very big one on this. Alright, the next thing is raid awareness. Not just raid awareness, but what we can do to help raid members survive. We are a hybrid class, so we can, of course, spread heals. It's not suggested that you stop attacking and cast a flash of light. So instead of doing that, you can throw up Selfless Healer, which every time you cast Judgment 3 times, you can throw out a 200, for me it's 100 to 200k flash of light. Very helpful. I like the flash of light, but right now I have Sacred Shield Beak just for survivability. And I can say I have 5 bubbles now. Or 3. Or 4. Anyway, we have a lot of bubbles. So that's pretty helpful. You can also wog people. It's not suggested. It's still going to be DPS loss. No matter what healing you're going to do, you're going to be DPS lossing. Even if you do go into Word of Glory, which every time you cast Word of Glory on a nearby ally, you get 9% additional damage for 6 seconds after that, which can be helpful in some instances. Actually, there's no instances that it's helpful, but it's just a nice little way to, if you're casting a lot of wogs, it's a nice way to get your damage, up there a little bit, because you're still gonna be losing damages, but at least this cuts that damage loss a bit. You can also use, let's see, yeah, there's not really much else you can do for healing wise. Oh, well, Lay on Hands. Lay on Hands basically is a survival cooldown, 10 minutes. It will save a raid member if they're losing health fast. So if you see a raid member going down and he's not getting heals, throw it on him, save his life probably. For hands, which are these 4, Hand of Freedom, Hand of Protection, Hand of Sacrifice, and Hand of Salvation. Hand of Freedom removes you from movement impairing effects. This works extremely well in the Mogoshan Vaults dungeon. I haven't really done Heart of Fear yet, so I don't really know what it will help you there. But this will free you from the rooting in the Stone Guardian fight. It will free you from the stone petrification you get from some ads in the ads between Will of the Emperor and Elegon. And that's it for Hand of Freedom. It's not that useful, but it will save you sometimes. Hand of Protection, the most specific fight I can think of for this, the use for this is Garage All. When, say, your tank has the voodoo dolls on them, and there's 3 other units three other guys, that take damage. I think it's 30% of damage that the tank takes. So throw a Hand of Protection on the tank. It will stop him from attacking, but he'll still keep threat, and everyone else won't take damage. So it's very helpful for raid survivability, but only throw it if the tank calls out for it, or you think the tank's going to die, or the people are going to die. Hand of Sacrifice. Hand of Sacrifice is another tank cooldown. You basically throw it on the tank, and you will take 30% of the damage the tank is taking. So you can pair that up with, like, say, a Divine Shield, and you can be immune and still not take, and the tank will still take 30% less damage. It's very helpful sometimes. It might kill you sometimes. It's killed me many times, actually. Hand of Salvation, it's not really that useful, but if there's a DPS that takes aggro, throw a Hand of Salvation on them, and they will lose aggro. 5.1, they will be adding a Hand of Salvation, Salvation, or modifying it, I guess is the right word, to just instantly remove all threat for 10 seconds from that target, which is going to be extremely nice because the 2% every 1 second for 10 seconds is really not effective. It's only 20%, and it's a useless one. It's useless until 5.01. 5.1. And that about does it. Please post in comments for any suggestions or whatever. I don't know, say hi, maybe. Please subscribe and like. Thank you for watching this glorious film, and I will see you guys later.